Hey everybody, how's it going? Come on in, come on in. We're going to be starting shortly with my interview with the CEO and founder, Teri Johnson of the Harlem Perfume Company to celebrate what? Black Owned Fragrance Week. Come on in here, tell your friends, start texting people, say, hey, we ready. We about to go live and talk to the owner, the founder, the creator, the super creative, Miss Teri Johnson. There she is. Hello. How are you?
Great. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you, Lisa.
Nice to see you. We chatted before, y'all, so this isn't nothing new for us. But thank you for taking the time out of your oh so busy day to kind of talk to us about your incredible fragrance line. And yes, I ordered some stuff and I'm so excited. But I'm going to just jump right on into it. First of all, I just had to share, I was sharing earlier when Glenn was putting together the schedule. And I didn't know who I was going to be interviewing, but when he was putting together the schedule, and he said it was Teri Johnson, I said, of the candle company, Harlem Candle Company. I was like, I sat back, I was like, for real? Oh, wow. So I'm just honored to really talk to you today about your fragrance line. And I'll tell y'all, I got some things. And her fragrance line is it has a theme across it. And it's really, really, really inspiring. And I wanted you to share with us your experience. I had to do some research on you. You traveled a lot.
Yeah, I've been to, I think it's now 73 countries.
Are you serious?
I just got back from Ghana.
What? Now,
Yeah.
see, I got a passport and I don't have not one stamp in the book.
Wait, you've never left the
I
country?
have never left the country. I got
Uh,
a passport, no
can we,
stamps.
I know we're supposed to be talking about fragrance, but
Right.
listen, okay?
I know.
You need to understand what's going
I
on.
got to do something
Can
about
we
that.
please, can we get you to commit to 2025
Yes.
that you're going to leave the country and get some stamps in that passport?
Yes. 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 If somebody wants to
You
send me
do
some
too much.
points.
You do too much. You do too much when it comes to motivation, when it comes to encouraging business. I feel like it is my duty in front of everyone who's watching to encourage you and to put you to task. Let's go. You gotta go. You gotta
Yes.
get out of
I'm
here.
going to travel. I'm going to get a stamp in the book. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Virtual shake.
All right. Virtual handshake on that.
Okay.
But I mean, and you moderated and you traveled and what your experience as a travel and lifestyle expert and influencer, what influenced your decision to establish this Harlem Perfume Company? What was the motivation behind
Yeah,
that?
I'll give you the background. So, um, I I've been living in New York for about 20 years,
Mhm.
and when I first moved here, I was doing management consulting. So this is my background.
Okay.
Doing management consulting was one of the job I decided to do because I wanted to be in New York and I wanted a bunch of diverse experience.
Yeah.
And when you're doing consulting, you're constantly on this project, on that project, and you're traveling and you're doing all these great things, and it's very dynamic.
Hmm.
I never wanted to be stuck doing one thing, having one skill set that was
Right.
ever limit me because I was like, I actually don't really know what I want to do, but I know I'm going to get to New York and I'm going to figure it out.
Hmm.
That was always my plan. I just need to be here and I'm going to network and I'm going to learn and I'm going to just be exposed to all the things.
Right.
So, one of the things that I started to really, really understand and love was just beautiful fragrances.
Mm.
And New York can be so fast paced and so quick where you need to relax and you need to de-stress and calm
Right.
down.
Right.
I started investing in candles. So a lot of my friends, we first graduated from college, they're buying all these fancy shoes. They're buying the Jimmy Choo and all the fancy shoes and the fancy purses. And I was
Uh,
like, I just want that candle that's going to make me
right.
relax, but not the Bath and Body Works.
Right.
I want the diptyque. I want that. I want that candle that really just transports me to another place. So I happened to have met a chemist back in 2014 who I met him in Harlem. He owned a shop in Harlem that sold a lot of essential oils and incense and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool shop. I got to smell the pure form of things that I had never smelled before, like ylang ylang, pure jasmine in its raw form. I got to experience so many different varieties of lavender. So he became almost like a mentor. And I decided that one Christmas I was going to make a bunch of candles for friends and family. And I knew that he had created candle fragrance oils for different companies. He's a chemist. He could do so many things. So he gave me about 4 different fragrance oils that I used to make 50 candles. And I packaged each candle and made it really pretty with a bow. And I customized each candle depending on who I was giving it to. And I loved the process of making the candles and telling a story about each one so much that I was like, I think I could turn this into a business. And I was very encouraged by my friends and family to turn it into a business. So I created the Harlem Candle Company, and that was in 2014. So, but we're not here to really talk about candles, but that is sort of how I got my start in the fragrance industry, and learned so much along the way. So fast forward to 2022, this is when I started the Harlem Perfume Company. So I've been working with some of the talented and incredible perfumers throughout the journey. I've partnered with Tagasago, which is the main fragrance house that does my candles, and I've always had access to their top perfumers for my candles. And so now I knew, but they win awards for all these fine fragrances. So after my customers had been begging me to start a perfume, like, please make perfumes. Can you please turn your candles into perfumes? Because the approach has always been so complex, where you have the top, the middle, and the base note, and the way that they really play harmoniously together, depending on what time and the environment. They've always had that. So our customers, we're mostly a direct-to-consumer brand for the candles, have asked us to make perfume for so long. We decided to do it. We were like, you know what? I think we can. Hence the Harlem Perfume Company, and we knew that we needed to change the name, because I guess we could have sold perfume under the name Harlem Candle Company, but we kind of like, well, why not just have another brand that is the sister brand? And which is how we started the Harlem Perfume Company.
Now, so I got real nosy, and when I went on your site and did my research, there's a theme that goes across your fragrance line. And I'm gonna name some of these themes out, and I hope y'all can kind of catch on to the theme. There's the Billy, there's the Josephine Baker, there's the Langston, and then there's the Duke. And I was like, does anybody know what that theme is? If you don't, I'm gonna just tell you anyway. It reminded me of jazz, Cotton Club, Harlem Renaissance, and that was the theme of her. That's the theme of her perfume line. So what I would like to know is, like, how does your cultural heritage or personal journey inspire you about the fragrances you create, and how you came up with this line?
So when I was in college, I was doing my graduate intern. Well, first I had studied at the Sorbonne. I'd studied in Paris for about 3 months, then ended up doing a graduate internship in Paris. While I was there, where I had so much exposure to, and it's going to sound weird, to the Harlem Renaissance. You see people like Josephine Baker. People like Josephine Baker. She was one of the most celebrated. She was an international. There is an Avenue de Josephine Baker. You go into restaurants, they have her beautiful black and white picture up all over the place. She has the highest military honors in France. You have people like James Baldwin, who lived his last 17 years, his happiest years, in Saint-Paul-de-Vence, about a 3-hour drive from Paris. You have Rick. I mean, there's so many people who ended up going to France and being so celebrated. And now this is the time during the Harlem Renaissance. So you're talking the 1920s, 1930s, and the 40s, where there was so much segregation here.
Yeah.
So even if you were a celebrity, think about Billie Holiday not even being able to enter. She's performing now at this venue. She's the headliner, not even being able to go through the front door. She has to go through the kitchen door.
Right.
So you think about the mentality of here you are an artist. All you're doing is just being your creative self and having all these people appreciate you. But then being in a place like New York in the United States of America, where you did not have the same equal rights.
Right.
So many of them left and went to France. So it was when I was there, I did a Black Paris tour. I was very curious, what is this Black Paris tour? And that's when I really got to learn so much about Black culture, especially during that time
In
period.
Paris. That's
In
crazy.
Paris. Yes. So my love for the Harlem Renaissance started when I lived there. And so once I moved to New York, I knew I was either going to live in Brooklyn or Harlem. And at the time, I was like, okay, Brooklyn is a little too expensive, but Harlem, I was like, oh. And Harlem is also still in Manhattan.
Right.
So I made the best decision to move to Harlem. Because, and then here, there's so many symbols of the historic, these iconic people, and so much history, so many streets, Duke Ellington Avenue. I mean, there's so many things here. So I think when I decided to I was making candles for friends and family.
Yeah.
I was never going to turn it into a business. I was not thinking about, ooh, I'm going to start a candle business. But it was almost like it just naturally happened because I knew, I was like, well, I think I love candles so much. I love telling stories. If I were to make candles and sell them here in New York and in Harlem, well, why not use the Harlem Renaissance as a theme for to celebrate the legacy of these people through beautiful fragrances that can calm you, relax you, transport you. That's really why and how it started. But yeah, this is why travel is so important, Lisa.
I'm gonna get that passport popping.
Please.
Now, if y'all see me, I keep doing like this. I'm not rubbing my nose. I actually bought some samples of her perfume, and I want you to kind of like, how did you come up with the different scents? Because they all smell different. So when you think of the Josephine Baker, you have a different type of aroma in the Billy. So what was the process for you to come up with the different scents for each one of these lines?
Well, yeah. So it starts with a theme. So with Billie Holiday,
That's my favorite one so far. I had it's very floral. I love it. Oh yes, that's my favorite one. If y'all gonna buy something today. Get the Billy. That's my favorite.
Well, we also have a sample. We have a sample pack. So the samples that you have, you can buy all 5. So if you're watching, you've never experienced any of these, you should start with the samples, because then you'll be able to understand what works the best on your
Yes,
skin.
absolutely. That's what I did, and then I'm gonna go back and really drop some coins and get the Billy because I love it so much.
Wait a minute,
But how
Lisa, I got.
no, how did you with the Billy, like I said, it's floral, and then the
Yes.
Josephine is different. How did you come up with the idea to come up with the different scents for each one?
So with Billie, you know how Billie Holiday always wore that iconic gardenia in her hair? Well,
Yeah.
that's what I really wanted to celebrate, that gardenia. It's also one of my favorite flowers. It's so heavenly, intoxicating, beautiful, and I love gardenia. And so the Billie fragrance is really kind of representing the softer side of Billie Holiday. Because she went through rough times. I mean,
She really did.
it wasn't always so pleasant and easy for her. She was such a talented artist that struggled with all sorts of things. And so when I think about this beautiful white floral, I wanted, because that's what Billie loved. She loved putting that. Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you a story. And this is what I read in Vogue magazine. It's not like I was there. This was in the 1920s. But she was, her hair, actually, you can see. Here she is, right here. But you see her, she always had her hair sort of kind of slicked down, and it was always so beautiful and perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
she was using a hot comb to get the edges real tight and straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Burned off part of her hair.
That's why she wore the flower, because she
That's
burnt
why
her
she wore the
edges,
flower.
y'all.
Yes. Yes. To cover it up.
Oh my goodness.
Because
I never knew
at the
that.
jazz club, they were selling, corsages. Back in the day when people dressed so well in three-piece suits, they were selling corsages. So one of her friends ran when she realized what happened, ran and got a corsage, and put it in her hair, and that became her
So
signature.
we was worried about edges back then.
I know everybody's worried about your edges.
Right.
There's always a gardenia that you can
Right.
put. So the Billy fragrance, it really started with the beautiful gardenia, and so that is the heart of the fragrance. There's gardenia, there's some jasmine, there's some ylang ylang.
Uh-huh.
On top, there's some beautiful neroli notes and some fresh green leaves, and then
Mm-hmm.
at the base, there's some coconut milk and I think some vetiver and some sandalwood. So one thing that I love about the Billy fragrance, the perfumer who created it, her name is Kathleen Seleg.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up listening to Billie Holiday. That's the music that her
Oh,
parents played for her. So she
wow.
wasn't listening to little lullabies. She grew up in France. She wasn't listening to lullabies. She was listening to the music that her parents played. So she also felt a very strong connection to Billie Holiday
Mm-hmm.
because she remembers this music growing up. This was
Mm-hmm.
the music played in her household.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really special to have her work on this perfume because she already has her own sort of memories and feeling about Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
and then just talking about the creative process of
mhm,
the different iterations. So Billie, we wanted something that almost felt like a second skin
mhm,
for that one. So I would say out of all the fragrances we have, Billie is probably the one that is the lighter one. And
yes.
I think it's really nice for spring. I think it's very nice for summer. But
Mhm.
it's also, I think, like some of the fragrances, you do not put them on before you go to bed. Billie, you can put this on before you go to
Yes,
bed
you
because it's like that
can.
second skin.
Yes, you can.
But do not put on Langston before you go to bed. Do not put on
Mhm.
before you
And
will
that's
never
those
get
are the
to sleep.
men's fragrances, right? Because you
Well,
do
no,
have men's fragrances,
no,
or no? Are they for anybody?
we're gonna talk about that. Fragrance has never only been for one gender. It is all about marketing. So yes, we have a fragrance called Langston. We have
Mhm.
one called Duke. We have one called Billie, Josephine. And so you might associate the names with the gender, but my boyfriend will put on Josephine, and it smells amazing on him.
Oh,
And I
really?
wear Langston when he's not.
Yeah.
Yes. Because he loves it. Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow. I did
Yeah,
not know that.
and I think it's really important for people to understand that it's all about your body chemistry and the
Hmm.
pH balance. It can also just be on how oily your skin is. There's so many factors that go into how the perfume is going to perform on you.
Hmm.
Um, but I've always tended to lean towards more masculine fragrances
Hmm.
personally.
Me too. Me
Um,
too.
but I also really, really, and I can wear a more masculine fragrance, and you won't even know that that's the same one that man over there is wearing. It's
Hmm.
going to be different on me.
Yeah.
So, and
What you
oh,
go? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, no.
And so I noticed that when you went from the candle company to doing perfume, how hard was it for you to make that leap? And then what were some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah. So I honestly, it wasn't really that hard.
Hmm.
Because I already had the perfumers. I already had access to. I already know packaging. We've done so many different types of packaging for our candles.
Hmm.
So I had packaging suppliers. I had
Hmm.
bottle suppliers, glass suppliers, I mean,
Hmm.
glass decorators. So all of those vendors that have been in place for my candle business that had existed for 8 years prior, I had all those relationships.
Yeah.
And so I guess yeah, it just really wasn't that hard. I think the hardest part has been people who are unfamiliar with the Harlem, because if you're familiar with the Harlem Candle Company, you already know
Hmm.
our you already know how unique and special and complex and as transportive they are.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot. It's been, I'm not going to say easy, but it's, our candle customers already trust us. So when we release a candle, they don't even have to smell it. They just buy it
Right.
because they already have that trust. I think the hardest part for the Harlem Perfume Company is those people who have never heard of Harlem perfume or candle at all,
Yeah.
and kind of bringing them into our world
Mm-hmm.
and allowing them to understand that, you know, we didn't just decide to do this last night
Mm-hmm.
or last year. We've been in this fragrance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
What I notice now, when you go on her website, I'm a stickler. My background is in digital marketing, and I'm a stickler for good marketing. And I mean, just beautiful
thank you.
marketing. So, can you talk to people and talk to us about how important it is for the marketing and what that all embodies with getting your product out there, especially a fragrance line? Because I know fragrance is a heavy, heavy, saturated space,
Mhm.
and everybody's coming out with one. How important is marketing to just get that scent out there and get that community built so people can start to know about your product?
Oh, no, it is. It is critical. It is critical. It is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
We had the advantage of having already, 80,000 people on our newsletter distribution list.
Mm,
So there's that.
right.
And then we have a Harlem Candle Company Instagram that has, I think, about 60,000 people who follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Facebook, we have 10,000. So because we already had that audience and those eyeballs,
Mm-hmm.
we had that leg up versus
Mm-hmm.
a perfume company that wants to start without having that sort of following. So, but when it comes to marketing, you have to be able to convey as much as possible about what the scent is and how we want you to feel when you put this on.
Right.
And so you have to do that through words. You have to do that through beautiful product imagery. You have to do that through video.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it is so important. And even more than ever, you need it constantly on social
Yeah,
media. People get fatigued looking at the same old stuff,
they do.
you know, and they might not respond to this look, but they might respond very well to that look. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I mean, it's something that you have to think about. It is extremely, extremely important
Mm-hmm.
to have really good marketing, really good product photography, product images, and storytelling, really good copy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, now it's a lot easier than it used to be because
Yeah.
there's all these AI tools that can help you. There's so many
Right.
tools. There's AI that can do all these things from a graphic design perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You could be like a pretty basic writer,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Chat GPT turn it into
exactly. ChatGPT is
so
my friend.
yeah. So I feel like a lot of companies now have a lot more tools than when I started the candle brand 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it difficult as a minority to kind of break into the fragrance space?
Um, it's probably difficult,
Mm.
but I I don't really I don't really think about it because I don't know any other way to be.
Hmm.
I'm just
Okay.
this is what it
I woke
is.
up like this. Yeah.
I woke up like um, but I don't know if it how much harder it would be if I don't know. I only know my experience.
Hmm.
And I do think there's probably a lot of challenges and obstacles that I don't acknowledge.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but they say, being an entrepreneur and deciding to do this, you need a little delusion. So I probably have some of that. Just a
You're
little bit.
delusional? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not going to call myself delusional, but there might be a little bit of, where I'm not going to let negativity and those perceived obstacles because I'm Black and because I'm a woman, I'm not going to let that stop me or
Hmm.
use it as a crutch or you let it get to me. I can't because
Right.
I have too many wonderful things to do in this world to
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
hampered and to
Yeah.
be no, I have too many things, too
Mm-hmm.
many things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just keep going. Yeah, but I'm sure there are, but I don't even acknowledge. I'm like, this is
So
my thing.
how do you, so you have this line, this beautiful line. How do you pivot? How do you make the line still more engaging and stretch line? You don't get rid of it, but how do you make it more interesting? What's next, or what's evolving for your perfume line?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're constantly working on new fragrances. I'm wearing a new one now that
Oh,
we're
okay.
that we're planning to launch at the end of June.
Hmm.
So there, yeah, you're constantly innovating. You're constantly having meetings with the perfume houses because they keep up with all the trends that are happening, and so
Yes.
they present. Okay, well, for 2026, we're thinking, projecting that this is going to be the trend.
Hmm.
And then you get presented with this information, and you can either decide, oh yeah, well maybe let's try to incorporate a little bit of that in this and see. But you have to kind of stay on top of things,
Yeah.
and also understand where the industry is going.
Hmm.
And right now it's like, oh, gourmands are so popular with this marshmallow and all this stuff, which is different than it was the year before and the year
Hmm.
before that and the year before that. So it is important to really stay up to date on what is happening in the industry and what's
Hmm.
happening within the fragrance world. But listen, we do that, but we take it with salt,
Yeah.
with a little salt, because what I've always intended to do was to honor the essence and the legacy of people that have come before. So that's not about a trend.
Yeah.
No, that's tapping into, well, if this person was alive today and here right now, what is the modern version of Josephine Baker? How
Mm.
would she smell right now
Mhm.
if she was here now? So that's which it's not about a trend. It's not about what the fragrance houses are telling you based on data.
Mhm.
So, you have to have a nice balance between both schools of thought.
Right.
And, we also, I don't have, everything that I've done is self-funded. So there's no one or no, company or, looking over Teri, you need to be doing this, this, and this. So I have a lot of fun and flexibility. And if it works, it's great. If it
Mhm.
doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stop or derail the mission that I have, which has always been with all of the brands,
Mhm.
perfume, candle, design, to celebrate the legacy and honor the legacy of these incredible, iconic Black people from the Harlem Renaissance.
Right. Was there ever a time, because, as entrepreneurs, we wear a lot of different hats, and we have our highs and our lows, and the lows can be super low, and it can be a little lonely. Was there ever a time that you faced like, girl, I can't. What did you do to kind of like overcome that, or what do you do to kind of like pick yourself back up and like, I got this, I'm gonna shake this off and let's keep it pushing?
Um, okay. So there's two parts to that question. I don't think I ever really feel like I can't. I don't think those words, I don't have those words
Okay.
in my vocabulary. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I get under, I mean, I understand like I can't with you. You like but when it comes to business and when it comes to believing in myself and in what I'm doing, those words don't go to, those two, three words, I cannot,
Mm-hmm.
don't go together. I don't interpret those for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also always believe, okay, well, this didn't work very well, right? But there's a way to maybe, okay, well, maybe let me rethink that, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe let me spend, or maybe this is a lesson. So I do take a lot of things as lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to learn from. Okay, this didn't work so well. This wasn't perfect, but all right, we're gonna do it different this way. We're gonna change the whole
Mm-hmm.
process. So I always, because I also do feel like I was chosen to do this.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was. Yeah.
You kind of feel it in your soul.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like destined. If you're destined to do something, it just flows.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
no you might have a bump, but there's no like there's no obstacle. Things are just organic and they just fall into place. So I
Yeah.
understand what you're
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
destined to do it. And it just you feel it right here in your soul. It
Yeah.
just feels right.
Yeah. Someone just said I should not be in our vocabulary. Exactly. It literally should not be in our
Right.
vocabulary. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I should do this on social media, but I have the way, my mindset. My
Mm.
mindset is, and I've worked on this. I've been working on this since college.
Mm-hmm.
My mindset is it's hard sometimes to be around people when they talk negatively about themselves, or
Yes.
oh, I'm no good, I'm not, because words are so powerful. Maya Angelou talks about this, how powerful words are.
Mm-hmm.
When you say them to yourself, about others, words are
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. So I am very conscious of my words and how I talk about me, my business, my friends, my family,
Mm-hmm.
and I just always try to stay so positive. I'm not perfect at it, but but it also affects. I think it affects how things come to me, and
Mm-hmm.
how what is attracted to me from a business perspective. We just left a really great meeting that of a collaboration that's coming soon.
Mm.
It came to me, you
Right.
know, and but I wanted it. I've been thinking about it for years.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those things that happen and that are very special. But my mindset is really, I really believe, I really do. But I also I think what I'm doing and what I've chosen, or what has been chosen for me, I feel like I do believe that we have angels. I
Mm.
do.
I
And I
do.
see Langston Hughes as one of mine.
Yeah.
uh, you know, I see Josephine Baker is one of mine too. In fact, I just met three of her kids. I just met three of her kids in
Oh,
Paris, in November.
wow.
Yeah, I got invited to the unveiling of the new Josephine Baker portrait at the U.S.
Hmm.
Embassy, and I got to meet three of her children. It was so cool.
That is
So
incredible.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
And that was Wisdom Wednesday with Terry.
It's so important to understand, like, yeah, we have angels in our words. And I
Hmm.
mean, I have Billie Holiday, I have Langston Hughes over here, Joseph. I talk to them sometimes, but I mean, I'm like, I do, just in a way, just because I'm
Hmm.
like, I just feel like their energy is a part of this.
Yeah.
I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm tapping into them and their essence. I want to create and celebrate them in the most beautiful light, whether it's a candle or a
Hmm.
perfume, as possible. That's my goal. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, what would you say to someone that's going to see this later or that's on here now, to someone that's looking at this that would like to or is thinking about merging cultural heritage with the modern entrepreneur?
mm. Well, I'm going to say I think it's a good idea.
Of course you are.
Good idea. Yeah, well, we don't have enough of it.
Hmm.
We don't. We don't.
That's true.
And I feel very fortunate that I was able to recognize how important the Harlem Renaissance and the jazz age, and all of these. I was able to recognize the importance of it in another country.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, this is how you feel about us over
Right.
here? Okay. So if you understand how the impact that our community has as artists, musicians, poets, writers, entertainers, there's so there's so much to understand and to be influenced by. I
Hmm.
mean, I was just thinking yesterday. Was it yesterday? I said I could have an entire brand inspired by Josephine Baker.
You could. You
I
really
really,
could.
I have so many products
Hmm.
already.
Is
It's
that a
kind of
plug? I mean, is that what you're working on now?
maybe.
Yeah.
No, but there's so much. I mean, there's so much that can be done.
Hmm.
And think about so many other companies. I mean, cultures.
Hmm.
When you think about Italian goods,
Yeah.
there's so many companies that use cultural heritage as
Yes.
part of their DNA.
Hmm.
Think
Hmm.
about it. All these brands that have come out of France and Italy and Europe and these beautiful things from Asia. Why can't
Right.
we have
Right.
something that's from a historical perspective?
Right.
Modern, historical, we could, so many different time periods. There's a lot. And I feel like this is just the beginning, It really is. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a celebration.
With everything that we talked about today, your journey, the candle company, the perfume line, what's one word that would sum up your journey?
Oh, Lisa. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. One word would sum up my
Hmm.
journey. It's been an adventure.
Mm. Okay.
Mhm. A curious adventure.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
And
I
I love
like that.
adventure. I love adventure, which is why I
And
like
that's
doing this. And
why you've been to 73 countries.
it does kind of sound crazy, like 73, but you have to remember, I lived in Europe a couple of times in my life.
Hmm.
Paris, France, Italy. Well, I said Paris, sorry. France, Italy, and Spain. Uh,
Hmm.
and then when you're living there, it is very easy to travel throughout Europe,
Yeah.
Western Europe, Eastern Europe. Yeah, it was very easy. So,
Mhm.
and then of course the Caribbean. I used to also do travel and lifestyle video. I had a whole video series, which is what brought me to a lot of places, really throughout Africa,
Hmm.
South America. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I want to take some questions for everybody that's watching. Does anybody out there have any questions for Miss Teri? She gave us an amazing interview, very wonderful interview. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for taking the time and talking to us today. Does anybody have any questions for her? Any comments? I see y'all hearting and I see smiles. Do you have anything coming up for Valentine's Day? If I wanted to have a fragrance for Valentine's Day, this is a good, I just thought about this. What fragrance would you recommend for me to wear?
Ooh. Okay. It depends. Like, what's your goal for Valentine's Day?
Well, we can't talk about that on live.
Someone had a question like any new
That's
ones.
private. No.
I think Josephine is a really beautiful, very sensual
Mhm,
fragrance. So I think that's a perfect. This is what Josephine looks like. I think this is
mhm.
a really, really beautiful fragrance for Valentine's Day.
Okay. Okay. So y'all heard that. Please tell everybody how they can get in contact with you, where they can start today after we get done with this live, or right now, where they can go buy your fragrances.
Sure. So you can go to harlembrands.com and then you'll see all of our brands. You'll see the candles, the perfume, and the design, and you can shop there. We're also in the perfumes are in about 20 stores. If you go
Hmm.
to our stockist page, our store locator, then you can
Hmm.
see all the stores where our perfumes are sold.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then follow us along on social media on if well, I guess if you're here, then you can. But yeah, follow us on social and sign up for our newsletter. We send a lot of really good content there. And we love it, or email and SMS, because we'll
Hmm.
sometimes do things there that we won't put out on social media. So I think
Okay.
it's super, super great to always be on our newsletter and our SMS
Oh,
subscriber.
okay. We have a question done by the beard. What are some of the best fragrances for men over 40?
Ooh, Duke.
Okay.
Duke. Duke. This is a fragrance inspired by Duke Ellington. It has notes of pink pepper. It has some rockwood. It has some, no, sorry, guaiac wood.
Hmm.
It has some bergamot on top. It is so good.
I love
Um,
bergamot.
yeah, it's Duke. Langston is really amazing as well.
Hmm.
But I think Duke for men over 40, I think Duke. Because it's the inspiration is Duke Ellington, so a classic gentleman. You know how Duke Ellington was always dressed so well. He
Yeah.
always had a three-piece suit with a top hat. He always looks so good. So that is it's inspired by Duke Ellington. So I would say Duke for sure.
Duke. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and what
Now.
people should also know
Mhm.
is we have different sizes. So
Okay.
the we have this is the 50 ml.
Hmm.
Also have the travel size.
Yes. I saw that.
We have the travel size. This is 15 ml.
Hmm.
And then we have the 2 ml perfume sample. So I love when people get the perfume
That's what
sample.
I
Yes. When you
got.
get, if you were to get the perfume sample set of 5,
Hmm.
once you decide which one you want, and then you go and purchase the full size, you get that money back, whatever you invested.
Oh,
And you'll get
okay.
that discount code through email. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Beauty Lover wants to know, what are your top three notes?
My top 3 fragrance notes that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ooh. Ooh. I mentioned this earlier. I do really love gardenia. I
Mm.
love an intoxicating white floral. So gardenia and jasmine.
Hmm.
And I also love. Mm, I love. Well, the thing is, I'm going to say these. You're going to be like, they're all florals, but there's something about the floral at the heart of
Yeah.
a fragrance that really does just envelop me in a way that. So I love ylang ylang. I love it. If anyone ever has the opportunity to smell ylang ylang
Hmm.
in a tropical environment, so it grows. The very first time I ever smelled it was in Puerto Rico in the big forest El Yunque
Hmm.
maybe, and then but more recently I smelled it in, I think I was in St.
Hmm.
Thomas, and it was at the resort, and I was like, it was at night. I was like, what is the smell? And I could not let it go. I had the guys climb on a ladder. I said, I need pick that. I need
You
some
did not
ylang ylang.
have somebody go up on a tree in the.
Twice. I needed it
What?
twice. Yes. I just I just couldn't get enough of it. That's
Yeah.
in its purest form. Ylang ylang is so good. I also recently smelled it in Grenada, and I'm like, but you
It
know,
does smell good.
but sometimes you have to be in these tropical environments, and you have to travel and get outside of the United States in order to
Yes.
get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also, I really we use sandalwood in a lot of our fragrances, um,
Hmm.
as one of the base notes, which is always so good, which really helps it stay very well and long lasting on
Hmm.
skin. So those are my
Hmm.
yeah.
Do you think you might come out with a house line? We got our skin and our body smelling good. Do you think you might come out with a line?
Well, we have room sprays for
Yeah.
Harlem Candle Company. Let me see if I have any close by. The Harlem Candle Company has room sprays. We also have diffusers. This is just a diffuser
Oh.
with the sticks. Yes, the
Oh,
Harlem Candle
okay.
Company has this.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a
Okay.
bunch. Yeah.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Another plug for the Harlem Candle Company. Y'all gotta buy them candles. I know
And
this is Black owned Fragrance Week, but the candles are popping.
yeah, but
But
that's fragrance too.
that's fragrance
Right.
too.
I've been knowing Glenn since the candles, since early in the pandemic, since maybe 2020,
Hmm.
from the
Hmm.
candles. So yeah,
Wow.
and I love this I concept of Black owned fragrance week that he's put together. I think it's
It,
great being
it
able to get us
is.
together and understand and elevate and spotlight. I love it.
Yeah, I did not know that there were so many creatives in the fragrance space. I didn't know. And when I was able to become part of this, I was like, wow. I was just kind of like blown away. And it's not just like, I'm gonna go downstairs and put together some vanilla, and they're complex scents that these creatives are putting together that compete with any Gucci, Tiffany, anything that you got that you see at the counters of Macy's, Nordstrom's, wherever. They compete just as well than any of those scents. They're very complex. We are out here doing it. When I say we are representing as minorities in this space, we are doing just that.
Absolutely. No, I mean, our Josephine perfume, this one,
Mm-hmm.
the perfumer Kathleen Seleg was nominated for the Perfume Extraordinaire Award for this fragrance,
Oh,
which
wow.
by the Fragrance Foundation. So it's an independent panel of judges.
Mm-hmm.
They receive it looks like this. So no one knows what's inside. Okay. So it's just
Right.
it's a bottle, unmarked, unlabeled. So you don't know which fragrance house it came from.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know which perfumer did it. And it's an independent panel of judges
Mm-hmm.
who decide what they think is an extraordinary fragrance.
Mm-hmm.
This was in competition with Tom Ford, Victoria Beckham.
Oh, my.
Yeah, yes, yes. So
She's out here doing it. She's out here doing it. Teri, I'm honored. I am humbled, and I'm so glad that we met and I was able to sit down and learn about your story, your journey, the creation behind Harlem Perfume and Candle Company, and you becoming part of Black Owned Fragrance Week. Thank you so much. Because, child, I know you busy. I know you out here doing great things and many things, but I just want to take a moment and give you your flower and floral notes and say thank you. Thank you for talking to us today.
oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I mean, Lisa, thank you for this wonderful opportunity and this interview, and Glenn and everyone who's behind Black Owned Fragrance Week. Thank you for creating this and making this a possibility. There was someone wanted to know about upcoming releases.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, I'm just going to show you the bottle, and you're not going to see the name. Okay.
Okay.
So this is, and there's nothing in here.
Hmm.
It's just the bottle. But this is the next thing that we're coming out with. Looks like
Okay.
this. I see a bunch of let's go. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm not going to tell you the name yet. It just we got to keep a little bit. Okay,
So
this
sign
is
up for the newsletter.
sign up for the news. In fact, I think that's a great idea. I feel like our newsletter subscribers should know about it
Y'all, they
first.
should
Be the
get
first
first
to.
first dibs.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
go to harlemperfumecompany.com. Is it
Mm-hmm.
.com?
It's
Sign up.
harlemperfumeco.com.
Okay, harlemperfumeco.com.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up for the newsletter so y'all can get the exclusive release of when that new scent is dropping.
Someone just said they love the bottle color. Ooh,
It's
we love
pretty.
jewel tone. We love jewel tones, which is why
Hmm.
we love a good jewel tone.
Yes.
Jewel tone. This is it's
Yes.
hard to see, but this is a really beautiful sapphire blue. Um,
Somebody said, is it inspired by the Harlem Renaissance as well? Yes.
yes. Oh, that's what we do, you guys. Yes. And then we have So this year we have 3 fragrances we're releasing, possibly 4.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go sign up for the newsletter. I think I already did because I want that exclusive.
Someone wants to know if it's feminine or
Hmm.
masculine. I'm going to tell you, this new fragrance, I love it on me. My boyfriend loves it on me. It smells completely different on him.
Hmm.
It smells completely different, but wonderful, wonderful. So it's for both. I mean, I can't encourage you guys enough. get the samples, get the samples and try.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're a guy and who only really tends to like masculine fragrances, just give ours a try.
Mm-hmm.
Josie, just to
I got
see.
my sample. I bought
Yeah,
3 of them, and I
just
already know which
you
one I
gotta try
love.
it. You gotta try it on skin. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been marketing, marketing to men, marketing to
Mm-hmm.
women. It's like, who cares?
And then
You know?
hide your bottles, because if your man starts to like it, then your bottle's going to be empty because he's going to be using your stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Or buy 2
Right.
bottles.
Buy 2 bottles, but no, like I will even message my boyfriend to ask him what he's wearing, so we're not smelling the same
Yeah.
when we go to dinner, because it's happened before. I'm like, I wanted to smell like relationship stuff. You have it on. So, but yeah, I mean, we it's really important to just, you have to try them.
Yeah.
And I also love the people who they don't even want to try that. I don't care. I just want it. I like
Yeah.
those people too.
Yeah. That's me. That's me. I just jump with both feet and I'm like,
uh,
just give it to
I
me
want,
all and I'll sort it out later.
yeah. And then there's sometimes, I've been gifted perfumes throughout my years of loving perfume
Hmm.
that I was like, oh, it's nice. I see why you bought it for me, but it's not for me. I give it to someone else. I love giving, exchange.
Yeah.
And then it could become that person's
Right.
favorite. So that's always important. I know a lot of people have their fragrance collections and these shelves, and I just see, I'm like, wow, they have so much stuff. But I also don't have a lot of space here in my New York City apartment, so I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm like, you want this? Come over, and I even come get it. Because something like that, especially a fragrance, there's so many memories tied to fragrance.
Hmm.
And I mean, every bottle of perfume that I've ever been gifted, I know exactly who gave it to me, exactly when, because it's my favorite thing to get. Perfumes and candles. It's my favorite thing to get.
Yeah.
I mean, I can even still remember being gifted. It's just, I have this, an association that I have with, like my Uncle Joe would get me perfume when I was in college. He's like, Terry, what do you want for? I'm like, I want perfume.
Yeah.
And he would buy me the same bottle year after year. And he didn't know, I think because he was in a wheelchair. He was basically my grandparents' age. So
Hmm.
he was in a wheelchair, so he wasn't going. And I think the woman taking care of him, his caregiver, would go and he'd give her some money and she would just go and buy this perfume. And it wasn't like I loved it, but I'm like, oh, but Uncle Joe gave it to me and I'll always remember it. And I will, every time I smell it, so it's, it's just the memory and the thoughtfulness, because when someone chooses to buy you a fragrance product,
Hmm.
they're not just like, "Ooh, let me just pick this up." There's thought that goes into that.
It's personal.
It's so personal,
It's very
and
personal.
I know, I'm like, "Oh, they really, they know how much I like fragrance, and they got me this."
Hmm.
Wow, like it's extra special. It's better than just coming over to my house with a bottle of wine.
Yeah. Well, that's good too. Wine and fragrance, that always
I,
goes together.
I know, but I'm not gonna remember what bottle of wine you brought and how it's gonna be gone in an hour. I'm gonna drink it up.
Right.
Yeah, I'd much rather have something that's gonna last me, a candle that's gonna last. I'd much rather be gifted that.
Yes.
So, but yeah, this was so much fun, Lisa. Oh, any other
Um,
questions?
do we have another question?
I don't know. We might have missed some, but if anyone, I guess, has any last minute questions, because I think our time is
Yeah,
almost up.
our time is almost up, but they can contact you or email you,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
And order while you're emailing. Just go to that cart and drop some perfume in the cart. But Terry, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
again, thank you. We appreciate you. We appreciate your knowledge. Is there any closing inspirational words that you'd like to give our Black fragrance creatives out there?
Yes. And someone reiterated what I said earlier, but I think we should all remove the words "I cannot" from our vocabulary, because we can. I can, you can, we all can. So,
Mm-hmm. And that's
so
the word from Terry today.
we can do it.
We can
And
do
I'll do
it.
that.
Thank you, Terry. And
You're
thank you,
welcome.
everybody, for joining our live. Please be sure to follow Black on Fragrance Week on Instagram, and you can go to blackownedfragranceweek.com. Be sure this live will be on their channel as well. And let's support each other. And these times, I'm not even going to get into it, but let's lift each other up and support, because guess what? We all we got. All right. It was great talking to you, Teri, and everybody else. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.